the pomp and ceremony of the Easter banquet at London's Mansion House last night, the traditional annual event in which the Foreign Secretary sets out Britain's global views and its aims and objectives before an audience of diplomats from all parts of the world. Last night, a broad-ranging speech tackling superpowers, climate change, the Middle East, the economic crises, and shared global responsibilities.
My message tonight is that at a moment of great international danger, we have a great diplomatic opportunity and a great diplomatic responsibility as well. Britain is ready to share in that responsibility. We will be, in the years ahead, ambitious coalition builders. We will embrace our responsibilities as a country relatively wealthy, relatively well-connected, with big assets and relatively a large amount of power. Our purpose will be to renew old alliances and also to forge new partnerships. And we will work with every single country represented in this room to tackle shared risks and pursue common goals. These are the foundations of a new multilateral system.
Mr. Miliband also spoke about nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation.
When I was growing up, people were either unilateralists or multilateralists. But in truth, the world had little faith that multilateralists were serious about disarmament, while they knew that unilateralists would never be able to deliver. I want to say that multilateralism is not an excuse to avoid our responsibilities, to avoid disarmament, but a safe way of achieving it. We will play our part, not just in delivering on the Non-Proliferation Treaty, but in defending it and advancing it. The vast majority of countries in this room have signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty. We have a duty to ensure that those who seek to proliferate will have no excuse. Proliferation is contrary to the Non-Proliferation Treaty, just as disarmament is integral to it. So as the Prime Minister said in his speech in March, our long-term goal, as a signatory of the NPT, is a world free of nuclear weapons. So we will find new ways to give non-nuclear states access to nuclear energy. That's why I congratulate countries like the UAE, who have taken forward and set a gold standard for the development of civilian nuclear power. But we also need to respond swiftly and robustly when countries breach their obligations, as the UN Security Council did with our support when North Korea attempted to launch a satellite using ballistic missile technology. That leaves Iran, whose nuclear ambitions are a threat to stability in a very unstable part of the world, with Arab states and Israel both expressing very serious concern at their intentions. We have no quarrel with the Iranian people. We have no quarrel with their right to choose their own government or their right to civilian nuclear power. But as a member of the UN Security Council, we cannot stand to one side as they act in defiance of their international obligations as set out in successive UN Security Council resolutions. And as a signatory of the NPT, the Non-Proliferation Treaty, as Iran is also, we cannot stand to one side as they refuse to cooperate with the IAEA, leading that independent agency to conclude that they are unable to verify Iran's nuclear program as being exclusively for peaceful purposes.
He then addressed regional conflict and the choices for solutions.
20 years ago, every regional conflict was seen through the prism of the Cold War. But now that prism has been shattered. Today's conflicts won't be resolved without the superpower, but they won't be resolved by the superpower alone. That is true in Afghanistan, where coalition allies need to respond to the additional US commitments by stepping up their own civilian and military commitments to support self-government in Afghanistan. And those within the region, including Pakistan, India, Russia, and Iran, have a key role to play in supporting development and security. This need for a coalition is also true in the Middle East. The Quartet supports a two-state solution to the Israel-Palestine conflict, providing security and justice for Israelis and Palestinians alike. So does Britain, a solution based on 1967 borders, with Jerusalem the capital of both countries, and the right terms for refugees. Israelis and Palestinians will not be able to solve this on their own. US leadership will be essential. But Europe and Arab states need to strengthen President Obama's hand by demonstrating that they will go the extra mile to support a just and permanent solution. That is why
Britain is ready, he said, to play its part in global responsibility.
We will stay true to our commitments to an open economy, because this will make us all more prosperous. We are fully engaged in Afghanistan and Pakistan in confronting the menace of international terrorism, because it will make us all safer. We are absolutely determined on climate change and at the forefront of efforts to deliver the Millennium Development Goals, because it is morally right, but also because it is in our self-interest. Britain today is a diverse country, which knows that it must earn its place at the table through achievement and commitment, not through history or nostalgia. And we do so through cooperation.
Diplomacy of transformation in a global world. Globalisation also at the forefront of a speech this morning by the Prime Minister.
All the problems you've been seeing over the last 2 years, huge rise in oil prices, climate change problems developing in every continent, this big financial crisis, the first financial crisis the world has ever seen, all of these result from these vast changes that are happening as we create a world economy, a global economy for the first time. And so we cannot sit back and do nothing.
A bold agenda for the future.
Prime Minister, thank you very much.